Okay. Hello, and welcome to the 17-Minute Podcast, a podcast that only lasts 17 minutes, hosted by me, Daniel. Hi, I'm Daniel, and you'll be joining me today for 17 minutes as we discuss whatever I want. Anything about any time, anywhere. And we'll see in future installments how anywhere we get. But today we ask the first question on your mind. Why 17? Well, why not 17? And of course, what is 17? "17 is the number of minutes in this podcast. 17 minutes ago, you were looking for some podcast to start. As of time of recording, 17 days ago was Monday, January 5th, 2026. It is very unfortunate that we are in the year of our Lord 2026, because that means that I am still getting older and time has not stopped. The comfortable time I knew long ago. 17 months ago was August of 2024. I don't remember anything too terribly bad about it. Don't remember too terribly much about it either. That was 17 months ago. 17 years ago was 2009. An unfortunate thing of time passing as I remember 2009. Lady Gaga was newly popular. She had been around for a moment, but I believe this is the year that Poker Face took over the radio and the world. We all heard Poker Face a lot. And funny enough, a movie was in theaters featuring Zac Efron. That movie, 17 again. And, well, that was 17 years ago. 17 centuries ago was the 4th century CE and the 300s. You and I remember it quite well. Rome was in one piece for most of it, mostly. But it was also becoming Christian. Things were changing. How dare they change? But for the next 17-ish minutes, there won't be much change. 17 minutes ago, 17 minutes in the future won't be very different. 17. Now, who is 17? Anyone born in 2009 is turning 17 this year. They're Gen Z, but they were born in the Obama administration. It's odd, but they're graduating high school. They don't remember a time without cell phones. They were born after it, but by broad consideration, 2012 is the cutoff for Gen Z, and so they are Gen Z with me and my peers that were born in the 90s. These generations are odd. Anyone born in 2017 is turning 9 this year, but do they have a better claim of 17 being born in a year with 17? Who's to say? But they're Gen Alpha, and they are graduating high school in 2034. Rather non-17 year, except that it's 17 times 2. So, quite 17 almost. But they are 9 years old. They don't have opinions. And if you were born in 2017 and are listening to this as a 17-year-old in 2034, that is quite odd. But things on the internet last forever, so it makes an amount of sense. anyone born in 1909 will be turning 117 this year. You might think that is nobody. That is but one person. That is Miss Ethel May Caterham of Britain. I believe I read she currently lives in Surrey. But she had quite a life, going from India to Hong Kong to mostly Britain is where she spent her life, though she married a person in the British military, and that's how she got to Hong Kong at the very least. As you read about her life, she's quite interesting. Anyone that lives that long has to have gone through so many lives that it almost makes sense. But she, with a bit of good luck and prayer, will be turning 117 in August, I believe. Did not write that one down. And so we hope for Ethel, because she will be the first Briton to ever turn 117. That is to say, validated. We have the paperwork that she was born in 1909, and so will be turning 117, has gone around the sun 117 times, was born under the reign of King Edward VII, and is currently under the reign of King Charles III, which there were only 2 people to do so. The other woman by the name of Rose has a British person to been born, and no. The other person, Rose, has passed away, but she has been around for close to 117 years, has met King Charles III, because of her now standing as Guinness's oldest living person as of time of recording. But what is 17 still is eluding us. We must go deeper. Well, if we look around at culture, we can see that a haiku has 17 syllables in it total. 5, 7, 5. Therefore, this is a haiku of my favorite number now, number 17. And continuing with the ideals of the Japanese, the game Sudoku has 81 squares, and 17 of them must be filled for you to be able to complete a puzzle that has a unique solution. So you can have less, and if you can fill it in still, but there will be other correct solvings of the puzzle. And I've seen special ones where they give you rules and they do other things, but standard Sudoku, 17 numbers in the boxes, and then you can solve it. What else? Yes. 17 is the 7th prime number. It is only divisible by 1 and itself. It is quite odd in that way. It's not got any way you can multiply smaller numbers together to make it. And so it stands out as an interesting number. And so, running experiments, some nerds at MIT asked people to say a number between 1 and 20 and most often they were given the number 17. Out of all 20 choices, people went for 17. Because if you look at another video, a Veritas video, Veritasium is the name of the YouTube channel that I saw this. You should go check out their video on what numbers are random. They come up with 37, so they've extended it farther. But that's because those two numbers, 3 and 7, are just more peculiar to us. 3 is prime, 7 is prime. When you're choosing 1 to 20, 17 is also prime. And you learn 3 times tables in high school or middle school or elementary school even. And you learn your 7 times tables in high school or middle school or even elementary school if you're on level. I'm not saying anything if it took you a little bit longer. The 7 times tables are funky. It's a funky number. We understand 5s. We have 5 fingers. And we like our 2s because 2s are even and nice and frequent. Now, but 7 and 17 are just stand out in our mind for being so odd. And so 17 is just such a peculiar number. So why 17 minutes? Well, because I was joking with a friend and I picked a random number, or did I? I picked the least random number, or the most random number. The one that's most peculiar in my culture. I wouldn't pick 13 because 13 is unlucky. And 17 is a very short podcast if you think about it. You have to stick around to hear a full thought, but not so long that it's inconvenient. And it's still just odd. 17 minutes. Now, there is even more root as to why a 17-minute podcast is such a good idea. If you look behind me, there's not 17 objects, there's way more than that. But there are objects, and the objects are made out of smaller objects. Books are made out of pages, pages are made out of fibers. And when you get down to it, those fibers have to be made out of something. And so, in physics, there are but 17 elementary particles that make up everything in the universe. So, was I being random? Or did the 17 types of particles that make up you and I and everything really lead me to the correct length for a podcast? I still was very amazed by the fact that there was somebody born in 1909 turning 117 this year, and that it was in fact the oldest living person right now. There was so much. There was a Wikipedia. There's not a Wikipedia. It was a wiki though for old people, and so it had her listed as 1909, still living. It was very convenient, and I just started ending up like, oh my gosh, 17 is a number. And 17 years ago, there being a very popular movie called 17 Again, I was astounded. Truly. Was there anything I missed? I don't know. We still have we don't have 17 minutes ago, but we do have a while. I'm trying to find more on. Yeah, Ethel Caterham. Yeah, 21st of August. Pray she lives that long. God willing. Now, the odd thing is, born in 1909, married in 1931, and her husband passed in 1976. So she has spent double the time as a widow than being married. There are just so many things that happen as you become the oldest person. Like, her children have passed on, but when the Wikipedia, or the, what is it, gerontology, the study of oldness, gerontology wiki says tragically passed away, I don't think so. I think they lived a full life. Their mother just happened to live a lot longer. Oh, that will be okay. Ultimately, our time here is coming to a close, and so I want to say thank you for joining me on this first of 17 minutes that we will share together going forward. And I look forward to next ones. We will find new topics to discuss. They won't be delving further into the 17ness of the universe, unless we find good reason to delve into the 17ness of the universe. But until next time, my name has been Daniel, and this has been the 17-Minute Podcast. Thank you, and good night.